wonder, what is the media telling your children? Well, as we move towards the Super Bowl season, and we know those TV ads are getting racier, and there's going to be plenty of them during the big game, should you stop your kids from watching the Super Bowl, or is it a perfect time to actually do some awesome parenting? Welcome back to the show, Dr. G. Dr. G, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, in your opinion, what do you think the media is telling our kids?
So, here's the thing you got to keep in mind. When you watch a commercial, you watch to see what they're selling. When kids watch a commercial, they watch to see what the story is and what the people are doing, which is actually what advertisers want us to be watching for. They want us to ignore the product and just kind of take that in as a part of the environment. So kids who are young enough to believe everything they see, and here's how you know, if you take your child to see a magician, do they just sit there wide-eyed or do they look for the trick?
Right.
So if your child is still young enough to go, wow, magic, mommy, then they're looking at commercials, not like commercials, just like little TV shows.
I still always wonder how everybody in the beer commercials have amazing six-packs.
Right, and
Like,
you know what?
Everybody looks great with their shirt off in a beer
I'll tell you
commercial.
what, Ryan, I walked in on 2 of my sons, and you know they're all in elementary school except one.
And you have nothing but boys, right?
All boys,
Okay.
4 boys. 2 of the younger ones having an argument about which one of them had a six-pack.
Really? At that age, even?
At that age.
And you usually think of it as girls, right?
Right, exactly. And there's a lot of conversation about girls, and I think that's important conversation. But our boys are also going, so they watch the people, and they think, so who am I supposed to be?
Right. And
That's what they're learning, is who am I supposed to be?
And that's every commercial, that's every magazine when you're standing in the checkout line. I mean, all of that stuff kind of portrays and glorifies that.
It does, but instead of feeling overwhelmed and like, oh, we should be Amish and not ever see these things, they're just good opportunities to talk to our kids about the values we want them to have, what we admire about them, and what we want them to admire about themselves. You know what? Have you guys seen the Old Spice commercial?
Yeah.
This is really interesting, and I think it might be farcical. It's called the Mom Song, but it's a bunch of different moms showing up in moments in their teenage son's life,
Right.
which are intimate moments, singing this dirge about their child who used to be so small now being an adult because he's using this aftershave. But what boys are going to see is, oh, to be a man, which this commercial really explicitly says, be a man, you have to hook up with girls, right? So you must be straight, of course. And if your mom thinks you're moving too fast, she is a cartoon character. She's ridiculous.
So how do you start the conversation, and what do you say to your kids?
So for little kids, just let them know it's not a TV show, that it is to get you to buy something. And just ask them to figure out what is each commercial selling. Right. And then they'll start to look at the commercials a little differently. For older kids, once they would go to a magician and wonder what the trick is, ask them to look for the trick. Right. What's the manipulation here? Why is that girl laying on that sports car?
Right.
And not wearing very many clothes.
And tell me why you think that is so important, especially for the little ones.
So for the little ones, I think it's important because it has never occurred to them that those commercials are something to be at all skeptical of. Okay. So they don't want the toy in the commercial because of the toy. They want it because of the kids who look so happy playing with the toy.
The story.
The story and the smiles and the emotions.
Right.
So we want our kids to be a little bit media savvy and be a little skeptical in a fun way. So you make it a game. Okay, quick, tell me what's the trick here? What are they trying to tell me I will feel or do if I buy that thing? And with older kids, they're always looking to see how adults are manipulating them. So this way you can get on the same team with them and say, how are they trying to manipulate us? Get them to see through it and kind of, challenge the man.
Right.
Now, I have a 12-year-old niece, and she's already looks at all the magazines and stuff, and she already thinks that she's fat. And she is skinny as a rail. She's a 12-year-old girl. Do you think that girls are more affected than boys, or do you think
I actually don't. I really don't. I think that it is as startling an issue for both genders. And I think that we need to talk to boys about how boys and girls are portrayed, and girls about how boys and girls are portrayed. Why? Because it's what they think they should be and what they think they should be interested in as they grow up. It must not be as valuable that I like that boy or girl who is smart and funny and kind as my friend who likes that boy who is more good looking like the boys on the commercials.
Right. And you even said you came in the room, found your son on the treadmill?
Yeah, oh yeah. And
so, that just goes to show you it's not just
girls,
thing.
Absolutely. But there are some great resources for girls. Dove has a wonderful series of resources for girls, for them to see true beauty, to see how women are transformed and how actually the women we see in magazine ads didn't even look like that themselves. There aren't as many resources for boys, but I think that they're great conversations to have. Where's the trick? What do you think they're selling you? What do you think they want you to believe? And then kids start to look at it with a little bit of a jaundiced eye, and that's healthier for them.
All right, real quick, Dr. G, was I right or wrong last night?
I think that you made an impression on your son.
Okay.
On his backside. The impression is still there.
Right, with all 5 fingers. You know, the research shows that spanking is helpful only if it's once a year or less.
Really?
Once a year or less. That if it's more than that, kids just start trying to avoid the spanking and not so much the behavior. And that it's much easier for kids to live with if it's a part of their whole community, if most of the kids they know get spanked. But if that's not the case, it can have some psychological effects. So the reconciliation you talked about, that come to mommy meeting, that's all really important. But actually probably disappointing you is as hard for him as those swats. And there are lots of ways to make that impression.
Okay,
all right,
well,
great
it
advice.
worked so far, but we'll see.
Thank you, Dr. G. All right, coming up next, Richard Roper is going to review Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit. Is it worth your money? And then later, my 2-minute warning with rock and roll star and movie star Steven Van Zandt. You know him from The Sopranos as well. Be right back. Thank you, Doctor.